So as you can tell by the title, I was able to do an interview with a professional hockey agent. His name is Mander, and he's a practicing agent, founder, and CEO of CKM Sports Management. So I want to give a huge thanks to Cliff and the entire CKM Sports Management organization for letting me conduct this interview. If you'd like to know anything extra that isn't covered in this video, you can head over to the CKM Sports Management website, which I'll link in the description to learn more about them. Also, a quick note, I didn't have a camera for this interview, so I'll display the main questions being asked on screen. And that way, if there's a specific question you want to look for, you can either find it in the description with a timestamp or in the image preview on the video timeline. And with that being said, I hope you like the video, and let's get into it. Alright, so today I'm joined by Cliff Mander, a professional hockey agent for CKM Sports Management. Cliff, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your organization?
Sure. Hi, Edward. Thanks for having me. It's great to be on the show. In terms of CKM Sports, we're one of the leading sports agencies for hockey players in the world. We utilize technology and data to empower our clients. We also own and operate the job portal on Elite Prospects.
So you just mentioned the Elite Prospect job portal. Can you just go into that a little more and explain what it is for people that might not know what it is?
Sure. So it's an automated job platform where teams and players can both register, and teams post jobs, players apply, and the team is able to accept or reject contracts. And it's an 8-step process where teams and players can complete the contractual process in an automated format that's specialized to the job they're looking for. So it's positional, specific salaries, specific accommodations are covered. And obviously we have, over last year, we had 3.3 million in salaries with 5,000 players from 35 different countries.
All right, nice. So as a hockey agent, what does your day-to-day look like?
The morning starts with reviewing emails that I've received over the night from Europe. A lot of countries like Czech Republic, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Norway. Going through those emails, responding to those emails, responding to text messages from overseas. Then the early mornings begin on reviewing emails that have come in from North America and responding to those text messages, and dealing with ongoing issues with players. Could be player trades, could be communications with teams about contract offers. It could be about understanding what teams need for the upcoming weeks of games. At any point during the year, there's injuries where players need call-ups, and that's a primary role that I play on a daily basis, reaching out to the American Hockey League, obviously NHL, East Coast League as well. And then over and above that, when we deal with amateur athletes, it's an ongoing development program. So during any given day, we're doing things like reviewing their analytics, talking to NHL scouts about them, gaining feedback, and also, having coffee with prospective clients, or gaining the relationship with coaches and teams.
Okay, and when you mention reviewing analytics, are you looking at simple stats like goals and assists, or is there something more to it?
No, it's quite in depth. When we track players, we'll usually do it for a minimum of 5 games. And what we're really trying to identify are ice time, passes per shift, landed shot percentage, turnover ratios, penalties incurred versus drawn. And we're really trying to understand what dictates a game with a point versus a game without a point. We're a strong believer of, once you understand what a player's inputs are, you can really dictate what their outputs are going to be and what their result statistics are going to be, such as goals and assists, whether those are first assists or second assists. It really, hockey is a very statistical game as much as it is an emotional game. So understanding what's leading to that player's emotion statistically in those events, whether they're hits or controlled zone entries or exits, is a very, very important thing for what we do on a daily basis.
So when you mentioned putting attention to Europe, would you say Europe is a bigger region than North America for CKM, or are you noticing a growing trend of pro-European players that you like to focus on?
No, it's a growing market for us. I'd say in the last 12 months, we've made exponential growth. I was actually in Europe at the beginning of October for 2 weeks, meeting teams and prospective clients and ongoing clients. With 41% of the NHL draft picks being Europeans, I take the mindset that 41% of our clients should be Europeans. We're nowhere near close to that yet, but it's my intention to do so.
Awesome. That's cool to see the attention put into both major hockey regions. I guess the big thing that most people would like to know is, how did you end up becoming a hockey agent?
A lot of learning. When I first started, I think the most important thing is you do finish, a degree in some faculty that you are passionate about, that you are interested in. I was passionate about psychology, so I have a degree from Simon Fraser University. And during that time, I started CKM Sports to gain knowledge on the hockey industry from an agent's perspective. I would also spend a significant amount of time researching agents throughout the world and understand their background and understand what they bring, both from a client services standpoint, but also from a personality standpoint. I think for me, maybe the first 6 months or 8 months of work was literally just researching the existing agents to understand what they offered, and then moving forward from there with a business plan. In the last 8 years, no one's there to necessarily teach you the ropes as an agent, so you do learn rapidly, and you learn a lot. In terms of success and challenges and understanding the different levels in hockey, my advice would be to work alone, and have your own brand and have your own clientele, as opposed to work for larger agencies that are established. That would be my initial kind of feedback.
And now, if someone wasn't as ambitious as you were in creating their own agency, how would a prospective agent in high school or university or elsewhere get into an agency as a representative?
I would really hone in on what you're passionate about and where your specialization is. So that could be analytics, that could be scouting, that could be health and nutrition, that could be communication and negotiation. So, those aspects, pick one and really hone those skills and hone your craft. And when you do enter an agency specializing in those, I would really never stop learning and really lean on creativity and lean on communication skills.
And so, how does the player-agent partnership usually come together? Do you reach out to the player, or do they come to you? How does that go?
It's both. Players come to you for specific reasons, and for you, you're scouting them, and you see potential in them for specific reasons. So it is both.
And I guess, what are the benefits of having an agent from your perspective, as opposed to having a guardian or parent represent a player?
As an amateur athlete and a professional athlete, the reason you have an agent is to provide competitive advantage against other players looking for those same opportunities. The way we've built our organization is to provide a competitive advantage in areas that no other agency can provide. That's why you have an agent. When you hire an agent or you're evaluating an agent, it has to be about how that agent is going to make you better, whether that's on the ice or off the ice, and how he's going to give you a competitive advantage, both short term and long.
And what type of competitive advantage does CKM offer players, both short term and long term, then?
So we utilize data, scouting reports, hard work, transparency, to really make sure that our clients do gain more opportunities and have the opportunity to evaluate different options before making a decision, whether that's junior hockey, college, or professional leagues and opportunities.
So would you say that you provide clearer and deeper statistics to players then?
Our business structure is structured where we can actually make a difference in a player's ability on the ice. So what I mean by that is, whether you're 14, 16, 18, or 24, you're eventually going to hit a level of expertise where you hit a glass ceiling, and you're going to need help. And that help largely is, how do I scale my involvement at that level? And you need to understand where your success is coming from on the ice. And a lot of the time that's data related. and also being able to communicate your skill set. Not every defenseman is a puck moving defenseman. Some are defense first that brings size and grit and toughness, and those are intangibles that you need someone like an agent to describe and be able to quantify. The other thing, whether it's penalty kill or a center who gets double the amount of second assists as he does the first, understanding what he brings from a pass per shift capability is, are aspects that provide a competitive advantage in terms of communicating to teams and really finding them the best fit with a coaching strategy at especially the NHL level and the NHL draft.
And when you negotiate a contract with a team, how does that process usually look?
Yeah, it's a two-way communication. There's standards obviously in terms of what the expectation should be in a entry level contract or a free agent contract. So it's really understanding, okay, where's that player's baseline, and then really working on the performance statistics or other benefits that the player can get. And the team again has their own thresholds and acceptance levels, and you're just really going back and forth. It should always stay positive because both sides respect each other and understand that they're trying to do the best job they can.
And is there ever a situation in which you would advise a player to take less money to be on a better team?
Yeah. In a specific scenario or a window of time, yeah, that could definitely be an opportunity.
So during a contract negotiation, does the player take the lead, or do you kind of let them know what they should be looking for?
No, the player is actively involved in speaking with myself about what his preferences are, whether that's location, financial amounts, where the specific value is that they're looking for. They're very high communication.
And I guess, would you just like to confirm that you, in fact, do not need to be a former professional player to become an agent?
No, you absolutely don't need to be a professional former hockey player to be an agent. Not at all.
And is there ever any cooperation with agents? Do you guys ever set the market price with each other?
Not necessarily set the market, but definitely in terms of communication and mutual respect. There's a number of agents that I speak to on a regular basis, both internationally and within North America. You're competing against one another, but you understand that you're not gonna be able to work with every player that you'd like to, and they know that as well. And yeah, I mean, there's a healthy competitiveness amongst a lot of agents.
So speaking of competitiveness, do you ever see agents trying to poach clients off each other?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a competitive industry, and if you're not doing your job, you shouldn't expect to keep the client. You need to work extremely hard to be on top of things.
And from a business perspective, are you for or against the salary cap?
As an agent, I'm definitely for it. I think it gives the players great baselines and thresholds and continual growth in terms of salary and opportunity. I think I would be of a different mindset if I was a general manager of an NHL team.
Could you say why you'd be against the salary cap as an NHL GM then?
A scenario in Edmonton whereby you're paying specific players $6 million for certain outputs while you're paying other players 1/10 of that for very similar outputs. Whether it's Edmonton or other pro teams, it's an issue, and I think when you're starting to see long contracts that are 5 and 6 years or even obviously longer, you're putting yourself at a very, very high risk of being in the upside down scenario, and as a GM mindset, that would be a place I would never allow myself to get.
And with knowing what you know now about how each league is structured, I guess, would you have your own preferred way to get to the NHL and go pro?
With 33% of the NHL being from the NCAA, that's a huge statistic, and it's growing. And the trend that's growing rapidly right now is Europeans coming over and playing the NCAA. So from a business standpoint, I've really identified that, and If I could say, major junior and super elite and, some of the best junior leagues in the world will always be a good option for drafting players. But what you're also seeing is European players are playing in the top pro leagues at 17 and even 16, and being drafted out of those leagues. So those aren't even junior leagues. So in terms of North America, I think right now there's probably a good balance between the CHL and the NCAA. But long term, I feel like there's probably going to be some changes in the landscape of the designation of an amateur athlete, and at least in hockey, and that'll obviously change the scale of how many pros are coming out of college versus major junior.
So just to go back to contract negotiations, is there an average time period that these talks usually take place in?
Yeah, it depends on the contract, but definitely within the year, there's a specific schedule where contracts are negotiated. And in terms of the timeline, it could take a month and a half. It could take 5 days.
Gotcha. And is there anything else you'd like to touch up on?
No, I think I'm good, Edward.
Yeah, awesome. Beauty. So that rounds out my discussion with Cliff Mander of CKM Sports Management. I hope you liked the video, and again, I advise you to go check out their site in the description. Again, I'd like to send out a huge thank you to Cliff for taking the time to talk with me. It was really cool listening to what you had to say. And if you'd like to reach out to me via email, support the channel via SeatGeek, or follow my Twitch where I stream 3 times a week, you can also find those links in the description as well. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.